Hello, Armoured Pants here. I have a video for you about the mistakes what I made when I started playing this game. Now, I should point out at the start that this video is really only for people who are new to the game, or if you've been playing it for a while but you're struggling and can't get to grips with it and that, you get frustrated or whatever. I think this might help you. This is not like any major insightful stuff or any sort of fantastic groundbreaking stuff. This is really just me relating my personal experiences of playing the game and the huge mistakes I made at the start. Because when I started playing this game, I totally got everything wrong. I fucked up right from the start, and I kind of made like Forrest Gump look like fucking Albert Einstein. I was so bad. So I think I'd like to share those experiences with you, and hopefully you can avoid them and learn from my mistakes, because Murphy's Law states that the only way to avoid mistakes is to get experience, but the only way to get experience is to make mistakes, innit? So it's a bit of a paradox, an oxymoron, much like myself. And yeah, so maybe you can learn from my mistakes, because I tell you, I fucking made a lot of them. I made a lot of them. So first thing is, with regard to looking at a tech tree here, a lot of people think that the objective of the game is to get to tier 10, to get a tier 10 tank, so you go up through the levels as quickly as possible. And I guess that's probably not really our fault, because it's kind of ingrained in it, isn't it? Because most games you play right from the from the start of your gaming career, and like arcade games and everything, that is the idea, isn't it? You go up through the levels, when you get to the finish, and there's a finish, and you progress through the levels and you fight bigger and badder guys, and fight boss men and all that, or if it's a car game, you go up through different ranks and all that, right? But that's not the case here, because this is an interactive online game where you play against other people, so it's not about getting to tier 10 at all. For example, like our deputy clan lead in 101, Tipsy McStagger, played almost 16,000 games before he even had a tier 9 tank. That's not the objective of the game at all. But that's what I did, that's what I thought it was. And I had played like 4,000 or 5,000 games, and I had like 5 or 6 or maybe more tier 10 tanks. I thought I was great, but really I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I used to get slaughtered all the time, and but I thought I was great because I've got all these tier 10 tanks, but that's not what it's about, right? If you have no clue what you're doing, it doesn't matter how many tanks you have. It's not about acquiring tanks, it's not about going up to the ranks. What it is about is understanding the dynamics of the game, understanding the maps, understanding different tank types. For example, I didn't even understand the difference between different tank types. I was just buying tanks, I mean, the big mistake I made was I heard that the best tank you could buy is IS-6, so I bought it, and I was just playing with it after like a few hundred games. I was just getting hammered every time, because I mean, you're in tier 8 with guys with thousands of games who know what they're doing, and you're just fumbling around like a blind man, in a dark tunnel, trying to find a light. It's just like I was brutal. I didn't know what I was doing. So that's not the objective of the game, right? Much like in apprenticeship, you need to do your time. You need to do your time down at the lower levels. You need to learn the maps, learn the different tank types, learn the differences between playing a light tank, a medium tank, a heavy tank, etc. A tank killer, and not just go in tier 8, tier 9 and think that I'm really doing really well now. So what happened to me was, after about 4,000 games, I had all these tanks and all that. I spent loads of money burning through XP, free XP, getting all these tanks. And I thought it was great, but what happened was my win rate was like 39% or something like that. It was shocking, right? I wasn't enjoying it, right? And I definitely know the people who were playing with me weren't enjoying it, because I was fucking bong, wasn't I? So that's the first lesson. Don't do that, right? Pick a line, pick a tank line, just go up through that steadily, learn the maps, learn the tank types. Now, the other thing I'd recommend is that you start doing heavy tanks. Why? Because they're more forgiving and they're easier to play, right? And if you want to buy a premium tank, the 2 premium tanks I showed you there in this video are very forgiving. And the one we're looking at here, PSB2, or as I call it, the Duck, that's a great tank, right? It's really forgiving. It doesn't get up tiered, and it's got good armor profile, a great armor profile. I've done a couple of videos on it if you want to watch, and it's really forgiving. You can make mistakes in it and you're not going to get punished, right? Because you can take a hit, you can get into a brawl, you can get yourself into stupid situations and get yourself out again, right? It's not very fast, but it has great armor, has a really fast gun. the gun is pretty good on it, and with APCR you can penetrate most things. And as I said, unless you tune with somebody who can actually get up tiered, you can't get up tiered, so you're always going to be fighting tier 4 or tier 3. And that allows you to, you know, to get your skills and learn the maps. Now, that's a premium tank, and the other little duck, the one I showed you before, is a premium tank. But let's look here at a tech tree, right? And let's go through what I think is a good way to start, right? And that's this German line, right? And what I'd suggest is going up the line of the DW2, because the DW2 is probably one of the better tanks in tier 4, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's got a brilliant gun once you get to the highest gun, and you know, it's got great armor. It is pretty maneuverable for a heavy tank, and it's pretty forgiving, right? You know, you can take shots and you can bounce shots. You can learn things like how to side scrape, how to angle, and this is a really good tank. So I'd recommend going here. You start off Panzer II, go up to Panzer III-A, then Panzer IV-D if you want to go into a medium tank. If not, DW heavy tank. By the way, once you perfect the DW2, the Panzer IV-D is also a great tank. Once you learn how to drive tank, and you can drive a faster tank. The great thing about this tank line is, apart from the fact that the tanks are really good on it, you've got great guns and that, later on it allows you to branch off. So you don't have to, like, once you get comfortable with heavies and you get good with the maps and you understand stuff like that, then you may say, oh, well, actually, I like to sort of do medium tanks now because I feel I'm better, you know, I've got good control. And you can actually go up through the Panther line and get to the E50M and the E50, which are brilliant medium tanks. There's lots of videos about them. And if you're good at playing medium tanks and you like them, then well, I mean, they're as good as anything out there. However, if you decide, well, actually, I want to still practice more on you know, in the heavies, I want to learn, you know, side scraping, angling, you know, I want to learn brawling, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, I want to get more comfortable driving the tank, then you can go up through the heavy line, right, which is going to take you up the Tiger line to the E100. Which is a monster heavy tank. I mean, it's an absolute monster, and this thing can hold its own against anything. And if you're good at heavies and you really enjoy them, well, I mean, to me, this is one of the best heavies you can get. You know, it is slow, but you know, I mean, it is the ultimate heavy tank, right? It's got a massive gun on it. It does all sorts of alpha damage, and it's really good. So this tech tree, I think, you know, is a good one to go up. It's very forgiving, and it allows you to branch off later on. You know, I mentioned there, you know, once you're comfortable driving tanks, and this may seem a bit strange, but actually driving and controlling tanks is very difficult. I mean, it's a skill that's acquired over time. I mean, I remember when I was, you know, in my Mong phase, I got the Leo, the tier 5 light tank. I couldn't drive it. I kept driving into hills, houses, other tanks. I couldn't control it, like, because it does like 65 kilometers an hour like that. I just couldn't control it, right? Now, it's like second nature to me, but at the time, I couldn't do it. So, I mean, I just wasn't enjoying it, and, you know, I was making a mess out of it. I just didn't know how to use it, because I wasn't comfortable driving tanks. That takes a few thousand games. Whereas a heavy tank is much more forgiving, right? So I'd spend some time on that and just go through the ranks there, you know. Just avoid those mistakes that I made, you know. The other thing is, you know, you got to learn the maps, you know, so that you know instinctively where to go. And the other thing is, you know, the other tanks are in it. So spend some time studying these tech trees, but even if you're not on it, right? Because you need to count the tanks on the other team and see how many meds and lights there are, many heavies, and that should define then your strategy for the game, you know. So anyway, just to recap on the basics there, understand the purpose of the game. It's not about getting to tier 10 as fast as possible. It's not about collecting tanks. You know, learn the maps, learn the different tank types, learn some basic tank skills, you know, side scraping if you can, angling, stuff like that, and choose a tank line that allows you to learn, you know, allows you to be the best player that you can be. You know, I mean, I have 20,000 odd games now across all my accounts. I'm still learning. I think even the best players in the world would say they're still learning. So just keep in there, you know, watch some other videos, and you know, things will get better for you, you know. I mean, I was at 39%, you know, now I'm up at almost 57, or maybe at 57, depends on when you look at this video. And yeah, so there's always hope, you know. But just keep to the basics and keep those simple rules, and that'll be good. Alright, Armour Pants says you're back. Alright, take it easy, lads. See you now. Bye, bye. A quick message at the end. You know, I only do this because I love the game, so don't get in for it. So do us a favour and subscribe. Alright, cheers. Thanks, much, bye.